I've been working on my Stardew Valley save file for a while and have slowly been turning Bridgeton Bay into Pelican Town. However, there's no way to host town-wide festivals across multiple lots in The Sims. So I came to this 64x64 lot in Windenburg and built a mini Pelican Town we can customize for different events. With fall in full swing in real life, I figured I'd start out by transforming this lot for the season into both the Stardew Valley Fair and Spirits Eve Festival. The crisp autumn air has brought in a bit of tension as all the valley's residents rush to get things done before winter. Pelican Town's producers are feeling especially competitive right now, so let's set up the Stardew Valley Fair first so they can square off to see who comes out on top. Honestly, as long as it's not Pierre, I think everyone will be happy. At the entrance, we've got a couple food stalls to stand in for Pierre's booth. I also used a sparring machine as the strength test game. In front of our mini clinic and general store are the Grange displays. First up is the worst, Pierre's. You just know it's full of all the produce we've put our blood, sweat, and tears into and sold to him. Now he's trying to pass it off as his own. Such a scammer. Next up is the farmer's display. I couldn't just leave ours blank, so I filled it with a bit of everything. Gems, metals, artifacts, artisan goods, prepared food, produce, golden and obsidian eggs, and fish. I made sure to put in plenty of wine and a few giant crops so Pierre does not stand a chance. This next one is Marnie's. She has a bunch of animal products on hers. Put a few roots on there to be like the cave carrots, and I was sure to include blue eggs and cheese pizza for our boy Shane. Last is Willie's display. I tried to use similarly colored fish to the ones on his Grange display in the game. To fill it out more, I also added in some other fishy products and tropical fruits he picked up on Ginger Island. There is blank space by the saloon, so I set up a harvest photo op area with a tractor and hay bales. Out of shot, there's also a little busking area with a keyboard for Sam to perform at. We don't have matching tent shells in the game that can be used like the ones in Stardew, so I did my best here. To get a similar look, I built octagonal shells and painted them red and white. I used worn wood slatting, rusty metal roofing, and kept them open to make them look like carnival buildings that can be put up and taken down quickly. The first tent is our slingshot game. To make this space functional, I put in a couple dartboards. I also painted the wall behind them like a desert sky so that it kind of looks like what you'd see when you play the minigame. The alien heads and glass bottles in there are also reminiscent of items that would be used in similar accuracy games you'd see at carnivals. The second tent I used for the fortune teller. This isn't where it's placed in Stardew Valley, but I didn't want to waste space by having a blank tent here. Also, I went right up to the edge of the lot and didn't have room to expand further to where this would be if I was doing an exact replica. It's a bit tight, but it's functional. It's hard to reach that back right chair. You can technically get to it if you have your Sims sit in the front one, then tell them to get up on the other side, then sit them back in the chair. It's annoying, but it's mostly for looks, and the other 3 chairs are easily usable. Next up is the fishing tent. I wanted this to be functional, so I didn't want to just stick a fish tank in here. A fishing pond wouldn't fit, so I placed an arcade game, put up a bunch of nautical decorations, and kept with the purple theme the Stardew version has. I had a tiny bit of room in the front, so I squeezed in a little pond. I'm not sure if this is functional, but if your Sim has fish in their inventory, you can try stocking it and find out. This last tent I made into a combo for both the Blacksmith and Adventurers Guild. On the right side is Clint's setup. He's got his smelting tools, some geodes and metals, plus items he can upgrade like watering cans. His display at the fair has swords, so I put some of those on his table too. The rest of this area is designated for the Adventurers Guild. To give this some functionality, there's a punching bag and sparring machine, the monster one this time. There's also more weapons in here, postcards from their adventures, and a new member sign-up book. In front of the Molnar's home is the petting farm. There's a chicken coop and cow barn in this area. If you use this lot as a park, these will just be decorative. However, if you set it as residential, move a Sim in, and have them get chickens and a cow, then this will be a functional petting farm. Everything to do here is outside, so visiting this as a residential lot shouldn't be an issue. If you don't want to go through all that trouble though, there is a grill and kids' toys in here, so you can still use this area without the animals. I had all this empty space in front of the community center, and since there's nothing there in Stardew, I got free reign to do anything. To keep with the farm theme and show the often neglected Stardew horse some love, I made it into an equine area. There's a nice stable for them, a ball to play with, and barrels to practice on. I didn't have room at the front, so I moved Robin's table back here and made the space around the fountain into an Artisan display area. I left one of the tables blank, so if you want to have your Sims come sell their stuff, there's a spot ready for them. The main feature is Robin's space, where she'll do live woodworking demos during the fair. She also has a display table with her crafted items. The last table in this area is Leah's. To differentiate their tables, I put more functional crafted items on Robin's and more artsy sculptures on Leah's. She also has an easel to do painting demos. In front of the playground is Gus's cookout. On this side is a beverage cart to be sort of like his travel bar since the saloon is closed. There's a few picnic tables to sit and eat at. Then over here is his grilling area where you can grab one of his famous burgers. And that's the whole Stardew Valley fair. Let's get a better look at this place by watching the Pelican Town residents enjoying this space in live mode. Then we'll jump into transforming this place for Spirit's Eve. Looks like Rasmodius wants to secretly make his daughter happy during her favorite season, and has an idea for another fall festival to do just that. Let's hop back into build mode and get this town into the spooky spirit. At the entrance here, we've got a couple of seasonal food stalls as well as a selling table chock full of Spirit's Eve trinkets. In front of the clinic and general store is the monster cage from the Adventurers Guild. These skeletons aren't going to move around, but they're still a bit spooky. I also added in some tables where Marlon is showing off some of the creepy things the guild has encountered on their adventures. Evelyn's community garden is filled to the brim with pumpkins and mushrooms for the occasion, naturally. The town square has been set up for a big harvest fest. I know the maze is the main attraction for this festival, but I think this area is my favorite. It's just so cute and Halloweeny, and I love food. So I'd be spending a good chunk of time here chowing on Gus's gourmet spread and smashing some spike punch with Pam. A Halloween festival would not be complete without pumpkin carving. Plus, we need more activities over here. So I put in carving stations next to the potluck. There's not much for the little ones to do at this event, so in front of Evelyn and George's, I put in a spooky play area for the kids. They get their own mini haunted house, kid-friendly spooky decor, and some playground equipment since their regular playground spot is taken over by the maze. Again, the area in front of the community center was free, so I put in a stage for our local experimental noise rock band Goblin Destroyer to perform, which is the only correct choice for Sam's band, in my opinion. So of course I had to give them a proper spot to really shine. Also in this concert area is a bonfire and pop-up bar. Having alcohol, fire, and a rock concert in such close proximity to each other is either a recipe for disaster or a really awesome night. Maybe both. Saving the best for last, we have the maze. I did what I could to replicate the same maze layout and features as the one in Stardew, with a few fun additions. For example, at the beginning of the maze, I added in this scary bizarre plant section. There is also some traps and spooky decor sprinkled throughout. On the far right, we have the Creepy Hands walkway. It was a bit tricky to place these so that you can still walk through it, but this and the whole maze is navigable. Back here we have the Baba Yaga hut and cauldron. To put the talents on the bottom of the house, here's what I did. Built the house on the second story, built a basement underneath it, placed a sized up owl statue in the basement, then raised it up until it poked through the ground at the right height. It may sound odd, but if you download this slide, you can check it out and see how it works. Next is the spooky TV. Just placing a big TV here wouldn't be all that intimidating, so I surrounded it with some menacing plants and tentacles that seem like they're coming out at you. Around the fountain there are pumpkins, a creepy doll that looks suspiciously like Abigail, as well as a spot to trick or treat and take a rest before continuing your journey. After that, you'll come to the spider area, and it looks like they've already claimed one victim in their webs. Arriving at the false end of the maze, you come into this graveyard that's taken over the playground. There is a hidden path to the left where you can walk across the cliffside to the treasure chest at the true ending. I couldn't put a prize in the chest, but I did put a shower. So washing off all the spirit slime you slipped in can be your reward. Alright, now let's take a look at this place in live mode and see how our Stardew characters spend their Spirit's Eve. Making a mini Pelican Town and decorating it for both fall festivals was a long process, but I am loving the results. I feel like this autumn has been such a blur that I haven't gotten to do as many seasonal activities as I'd like. So building these was a fun way to tap into that. I still need to make the Feast of the Winter Star and Egg Festival, so stay tuned for those. I also have full-size individual lot versions of all these builds, so check out the playlist that I'll link at the end and download them for yourself from my gallery page. If you're enjoying these Stardew builds and want to see more, be sure to like the video and leave me a comment on what you want to see next. Speaking of, I got a comment saying that the background music is distracting and doesn't match the vibes. Heard. I turned down the volume a little here and used the matching Stardew soundtrack music, so hopefully that's better. I will turn down the volume on the music moving forward, but I like my upbeat music and spend a lot of time finding songs I like with the theme of the builds. So you know what? Play us out, Sam. Yep, that's better. No shade, I'm just trying to have fun here. But yeah, happy fall, happy spooky season, happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate. Remember, be kind to yourself today, and I'll see you next time.